All right, in the last class, you were discussing about drugs used in amoebiasis. Now, we have a small topic left in that same chapter, which is treatment of leishmaniasis and treatment of trypanosomiasis. One second. So we'll start off with treatment of leishmaniasis. Now, leishmania, as such, leishmaniasis is caused by the protozoa of genus Leishmania. It is also called Kala Azar. If you have not heard about it, Kala Azar भी बोलते हैं उसको. Visceral leishmaniasis is also another name. Specifically in India, it is endemic to Bihar. The area of Bihar sees a lot of cases of leishmaniasis, mainly caused by Leishmania donovani. So we have leishmaniasis caused by L. donovani. Okay. Other than Dunwani, you can have a oriental sore as well. Oriental source of leishmania will appear through Leishmania tropica. Sometimes you can have mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, which is caused by Leishmania brasiliensis. But the more common one, especially in India, is Leishmania donovani. All right. Uh, the infection is transmitted through sandfly bite. So there is the genus of sandfly called phlebotomus. It's called phlebotomus. Okay. This is the sandfly. If that sandfly bites you, there is a chance that this Leishmania donovani gets transmitted into the human, and it will cause problems into the human. Now, treatment of Leishmaniasis will primarily be done through antimony compounds. Okay. There are two main drugs that will fall under this category. First will be sodium stibogluconate. This is one drug, and another commonly used one is pentamidine. ठीक है. ये दो भी लिखे तो एग्जाम में बसा है आप लोगों के लिए, because this itself is a very very small topic. If you get it as a question as well, you might get it as a 2 mark answer, leishmaniasis or trypanosomiasis, or you might get it as a combined short answer in the form of write about amoebiasis, leishmaniasis and trypanosomiasis. छोटे छोटे topics है ये बहुत, at least for you. So coming to the first one, which is sodium stibogluconate. Now this is a pentavalent antimonial compound. Okay, and this is one of the best drugs that can be given for leishmaniasis to treat Kala Azar as such. Especially if the patient has mucocutaneous or cutaneous type of leishmaniasis, in that sodium stibogluconate is very very useful. Okay, so it is an antimonial pentavalent compound which affects which is used to treat mucocutaneous and cutaneous types of leishmaniasis. Now, mainly this drug is given as intramuscular. Sometimes you can also give it as IV. Mechanism of action is unknown for this drug. ठीक है. जो आप IM देंगे, if you give it as intramuscular, you will generally give it as 10 to 20 mg per kg body weight. ठीक है. Generally you will give it in the gluteal region. Glutes में देते हैं आप. ठीक है. Lower back. If you're giving if you're giving IV, then dose will be similar, but you will give IV for 20 days. ठीक है. It will be for slightly longer period of time. IM भी almost 20 days के लिए ही देते हैं, but IV specially is given for 20 days. Main adverse effects with respect to sodium stibogluconate will be metallic taste in mouth. Very very prominent problem with sodium stibogluconate, because it itself antimony compound है बोला था, it is coming out of a metal. So what happens is once you give the drug, metallic taste in the mouth is pretty common. The patient might have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, sometimes myalgia. So ADR में आता metallic taste in mouth, nausea, vomiting, myalgia. Some patients will have a little bit of diarrhea, headache. They can have arthralgia as well along with myalgia. So body pain as in muscle pain as well as bone pain. In some patients, what will happen is arrhythmias can occur, specifically bradycardia. ब्राडिकार्डिया ब्राडिकार्डिया अरिथमियास दोनों भी कॉमन है. थोड़े लोगों के अंदर हेमेट्यूरिया होता, So there will be blood in their urine, and in some rare cases the patient might have jaundice. Okay, so as you can see, these drugs will have quite a lot of adverse effects. um, the more common ones will be metallic taste in mouth, nausea, vomiting. There will be pain on the injection site as well. Whenever you are giving the injection, please tell the patient that it will hurt a little bit. Okay, after giving the after giving the injection, it will start hurting. Even while giving the injection, it will hurt a little bit, but especially after. Some cases of sudden death due to shock have occurred. Okay, if the patient is undergoing shock after giving the drug, they might die. Okay, because of sodium stibogluconate, but it is still one of the best drugs that you can give for leishmaniasis as such. Okay, especially in Bihar region, it is given quite a lot, sodium stibogluconate. Then coming to pentamidine. Pentamidine जो है, this works on Leishmania drovanoani. You can give it for trypanosomiasis as well. You can give it for a few fungal infections as well, especially Pneumocystis jirovecii. Pneumocystis jirovecii को दे सकते हैं, थोड़े fungal infections को दे सकते हैं. Quite अच्छा ही है इसका, spectrum is pretty good. Mainly given IM. ठीक है, gets absorbed very very rapidly. You give it IM absorbs rapidly, and what happens is, even if you give it IM and it is getting rapidly absorbed, very little amount reaches CNS, so you will not have CNS side effects as much. Okay, so nausea, vomiting, वो पूरे headache, ये पूरे नहीं होते patient में उतना ज़्यादा. It can happen but not very often. Okay, not as much as sodium stibogluconate. Dose will be, dose is around 4 mg per kg. ठीक है, deep IM, or if you are giving it as IV, slow IV. So you either give it as a deep intramuscular injection or you give it as a slow IV. ठीक है, slow IV is different from infusion. You will time it so that you are injecting the drug for 1 or 2 minutes. That is slow IV. ठीक है, depending on the drug, it will be mentioned on the label itself. Give it for 1 minute or give it for 2 minutes. So you will generally 1 minute रहता है. You will slowly inject the drug. All right. You will give this drug on alternative days. Pentamidine is not given every day. It is given on alternative days, and the treatment will go on for almost 5 to 25 weeks. So it's a very very long treatment. Okay. Main adverse effects with respect to pentamidine is that, see, one big problem with pentamidine is that it releases histamine. It causes histamine release inside the body, and because of excessive amount of histamine, that itself can cause itching, pruritus. It can cause tachycardia. So once again, pentamidine causes histamine release. Okay. And because of excessive amount of histamine, what happens is the patient will start having specific adverse effects. First of all, pruritus, itching. The patient might also have rashes because of this. Some patients will have vomiting, diarrhea in certain cases. They will have tachycardia. So sodium stibogluconate causes bradycardia. This fellow will cause tachycardia. There will be hypotension. Okay, and pain on injection site. Okay, sometimes it can cause hepatotoxicity. Hepatotoxicity, renal impairment. Be careful when you are giving it in renal and hepatic insufficiency. Patients who have renal and hepatic insufficiency, उन लोगों के अंदर देख संभल के दो pentamidine. At least monitor the drug and monitor the patient's condition, how it is progressing. ECG changes are pretty common, especially in patients who have any cardiovascular condition, and this is one drug that can cause diabetes. Okay, it might not directly cause diabetes, but DM might be precipitated. So if the patient is at a risk of developing diabetes, pre-diabetic patient है, तो there is a chance that this drug will tip them over. So उनको diabetic बना सकता है ये drug. So be very very careful when giving it in diabetic patients. It is better to avoid it in diabetic patients, but if you are giving, be very careful when you are giving it. Okay. Then some other drugs that you can give in leishmaniasis, other than sodium stibogluconate and pentamidine, you can give amphotericin B. ठीक है, it will work in leishmaniasis. It is not used a lot. Amphotericin B, ketoconazole दोनों भी use करे थे previously. It was used in leishmaniasis. Sometimes allopurinol is also used. Allopurinol is a xanthine oxidase inhibitor used in gout. ठीक है. Then coming to treatment of trypanosomiasis. Now, trypanosomiasis is caused by trypanosoma. ठीक है, African trypanosomiasis or sleeping sickness, a very popular name. So sleeping sickness is caused by Trypanosoma gambiense. So sleeping sickness or African trypanosomiasis भी बोलते हैं इसको, is caused by T. gambiens. Okay. You will have other species as well causing different types. So for example, you can have Trypanosoma gambiens एक है. Sleeping sickness can also be caused by Trypanosoma rhodiens, or you can have a South American trypanosomiasis which is caused by T. cruzi. So Trypanosoma cruzi. So अलग-अलग variants are just like Leishmania. Now the main drugs that are used, especially one drug that is used in trypanosomiasis is suramin, suramin sodium. The mechanism of action of this drug is unknown. Don't know how this drug works. Okay. This is especially used in early stage of trypanosomiasis. Okay. Because what happens is this drug cannot cross BBB. This drug does not have the ability to cross your blood-brain barrier, and essentially, whenever this what you call disease becomes more advanced, that is when suramin sodium becomes useless. Okay, because that is when you will have neurological, infiltration of trypanosomiasis, and this drug will become useless. At that time, you will use different drugs. ठीक है, मिलासोप्रोल बोल के एक ड्रग रहता है, वो यूज कर सकते हो. Don't have a lot of details, that is why I'm not going into a lot of details with this. This drug is specially used in later stages of trypanosomiasis. क्या होता है trypanosomiasis? If it goes into later stages, it can cause meningitis, it can cause encephalitis. So वो टाइम पे आप मिलासोप्रोल यूज कर सकते हैं, आप एफ्लोनिथिटीन यूज कर सकते हैं. एफ्लोनिथीन, yeah, this is another drug that can be used, especially as an alternative to melarsoprol. ठीक है, eflornithine is used with combination with some other drugs. ठीक है, there's a disease called Chagas disease. उसमें अमेरिकन ट्रिपैनोसोमियासिस बोलते हैं उसको, Chagas disease को, उसमें यूज करते हैं ये ड्रग बहुत कॉमनली. Anyway, coming back to soramin sodium. Now, as I was telling you, this is mainly given in early stages of trypanosomiasis, and this is also useful for prophylaxis sometimes. Prophylactically आप दे सकते हैं if you are going to a region where you know that trypanosomiasis is pretty common. So वो एरिया में जाने से पहले वैक्सीन लिए वैसा आप यू कैन टेक अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ सुरामिन सोडियम. ठीक है, pentamidine can also be taken in that case. Pentamidine is also useful to, you know, for as a prophylactic drug for trypanosomiasis in case you are going to a region which is endemic with trypanosomiasis. The drug suramin is given IV. Okay, it has a lot of plasma protein binding, very very highly plasma protein bound, and toxicity can occur very easily in that case. Especially if there is poisoning, अगर आप dose ज़्यादा दे दिया, it will be very hard to bring the patient back. If remember this thing, whenever a drug has very high plasma protein binding, it means that if you give a very high dose, let us suppose by mistake someone gave a very high dose, if the drug is highly plasma protein bound, what will happen is the higher dose that you have given will go and attach to your proteins, and it will be very hard for you to remove the drug through your blood, from the patient's blood. Normally whenever there is extreme toxicity, if you have given a toxic dose to a patient, dialysis करते, hemodialysis करते, या फिर आप activated charcoal देते हैं. If you are in time, you can give it activated charcoal before the drug gets absorbed, or if the drug is already present in the blood, then you do hemodialysis. For drugs that are bound to plasma proteins, hemodialysis will not work that well. Okay, no, and it will be very hard to bring the patient back from that point. Especially for drugs like suramin, this fellow will stay inside your body for almost 3 months. ठीक है, you can find it in the plasma of the patient 3 months after the treatment is done as well. A very very highly plasma protein bound. You can also use it for oncoxera. oncoxera बोल के भी एक पैरासाइट रहता, oncoxera volvulus, उसमें भी यूज कर सकते हैं आप. Main adverse effect, as I told you, toxicity is very high for Siramin. So very good potential of causing vomiting. Some patients will have shock. Okay, they might go into shock. There will be loss of consciousness after giving the drug, especially after IV. After giving IV dosage, the patient might lose consciousness. Um, the patient might have neuropathies with this drug, rashes ho sakte, hemolytic anemia is very common, agranulocytosis is common. Okay, so as you can see, the adverse effects are pretty how should I put it, severe. Okay, neuropathy can occur. The patient might have rashes, hemolytic anemia, and in some patients there will be agranulocytosis as well. So the production of agranulocytes will increase quite a lot. So that is about trypanosomiasis. Concludes our treatment of leishmaniasis and trypanosomiasis. Don't worry, you'll get very small questions with respect to this. There's not a lot in your portion. Only 2-3 drugs that you have to remember. Leishmaniasis में antimony compound, sodium stibogluconate and pentabidine. Trypanosomiasis में suramin sodium. ये suramin sodium भी याद रख लिया तो बस है. You don't need to memorize the other two. Okay. Now coming to antihelminthics. So that completes our chapter of this thing. Anti-malarials and the associated parasitic anti-parasitic agents. Coming to antihelminthics. Now, helminths are essentially worms. Okay. Helminthic infections will include a lot of different types of worms. You have Ascaris, Enterobius, uh, Dracunculus. You have Taenia solium, Taenia saginata, Echinococcus, Wuchereria bancrofti, Onchocerca. बहुत अलग अलग टाइप के रहते हैं. Uh, See, in your pharmacology textbook, how you will have it is you will have the name of the worm. Okay, so there will be different names of the worm and the drug of choice. Okay, so what drugs can be given for these worms? After we complete all the drugs, I will tell you how this what do you call table goes, because that is when you will understand and you will be able to associate with it a little better. If I tell you now what drugs are used for what worm, it will be a little confusing. Once you understand the drug part itself, after that it will be easier for you to associate it with the worm itself. Okay. Two main types of drugs that you will have in antihelminthics: vermicidal drugs and vermifugal drugs. Okay, these are essentially deworming agents. So and helminthic infections are more common in developing countries where how should I put it, living conditions are not very neat. ठीक है, अनहाइजीनिक कंडीशंस में जहाँ पर भी ब्राज़ील, इंडिया, चाइना, places like that, बांग्लादेश, Pakistan, or anywhere where tropical regions, especially where cleanliness is not very high, वहाँ पर there's a very good chance that helminthic infections can occur. So anti-helminthics itself are of two types. You can have a vermicidal agent which will outright kill the worm, and you have vermifugal agents. Vermifugal agents promote expulsion of the drug. Expulsion of the worm. So these drugs are helpful in expelling the worm out of the body. Okay, big difference between the two. One will outright kill the worm itself in your intestines or wherever it is. Mainly ये helminths जो है आपके intestines में ही रहते हैं. So if it is killing the worm in the intestine, later on you'll have to give some purgative agent or some laxative agent to remove that worm, or you can have a vermifugal agent. Vermifugal agents will not necessarily kill the worm, but they will cause expulsion of the worm. Okay? So these are the two main types of anti-helminthic drugs. Now coming to the most common and most popularly used anti-helminthic drug, which is mebendazole. Now be careful when you are studying about mebendazole and classifying it, because what happens is this is also an azole antibiotic, not antibiotic per se, but it is anti-helminthic. So क्या होता, you can confuse it in antifungals, or you can confuse it with metronidazole or things like that. Be careful when you are studying about anti-helminthics. Write it carefully. It's similar to how your this thing were macrolides and aminoglycosides का साथ है, streptomycin, kanamycin, erythromycin, similar spelling, similar way of pronouncing it, so you can get confused. The same way यहाँ पर भी जरा be careful. ठीक है, this is a broad spectrum anti-helminthic drug, covers a lot of worms, but one problem is that its action is very slow. It will take a long time for you to start seeing the effect of the drug, almost 2 to 3 days. It will take 2 to 3 days, meaning you will have to give multiple doses of this drug before you can see any effect on the patient altogether. All right. Um, but what it does is it is very good in destroying eggs and larvae of the worm itself. Now, the mechanism of action of this drug, it will bind to beta tubulin with very high affinity. Beta tubulin is a special type of protein, which is it is essentially a microtubular protein. Okay, binds to beta tubulin with high affinity. Beta tubulin is a microtubular protein. Okay. As a result, what happens is whenever this drug is binding to beta tubulin, uh, its hold the how should I put it? That worm will not be able to hold on to, or it will not be able to latch on to your own intestine properly, and some cellular processes will also get inhibited. Along with that, what this drug will do is it will inhibit glucose uptake. So these worms, they will rely on glucose that you are eating. So whenever you have a worm infection or helminthic infection, whatever food you eat, okay, let us suppose you are eating rice or you are eating whatever you are eating, okay, some of that food will be absorbed by these worms and they will start growing using your nutrients. Okay, because they are residing in the intestines, that is the main source or the main place where absorption of nutrients occur. Agar wahan par, if this fellow is lying, it is getting a good source of nutrition, it is literally living in your pantry. So what happens is whatever food is coming across your body, it will invariably reach your intestine at one point or the other where it is getting absorbed. And especially that food which is reaching your intestine, it is in its most simplest form, monosaccharide form mein rehta, especially carbohydrates. If you remember last year we had discussed how carbohydrates are broken down into in your saliva, then they pass through your stomach, they reach your duodenum, wahan par thoda aur break hote by the time it is reaching your small intestine, it is in its monosaccharidic form, so glucose, fructose aisa rehta, and it is very easy to absorb. So these worms will rely on that glucose. What mebendazole does is it will inhibit glucose uptake, okay, in the parasite itself, and it will cause depletion of glucose stores. So it is not able to eat anything, it is not able to eat glucose to sustain its own body and sustain its metabolic processes. Other than that, mebendazole is also entering into the worm and it is depleting whatever glucose store that the parasite has. Essentially what will happen is because of this, over time the worm will die. Okay, if there is no energy, metabolic processes will not occur. If you're not able to eat food, your metabolic processes will severely shut down. The same thing will happen with the worm. Okay, so it is doing two things. It will bind to beta tubulin with very high affinity, and it causes that the worm to not latch onto your intestine as strongly. Other than that, mebendazole will also decrease glucose uptake and deplete glucose stores in the parasite, not in the human. Okay, it will deplete glucose stores in the parasite, essentially leading to the death of the parasite. Okay. One more important thing that it does is these helminths will lay a lot of eggs, especially nematodes. Okay. It This drug, whenever you give mebendazole, nematode hatching, nematode eggs, and their larvae, both of them are inhibited. Okay, they will not be able to proliferate. Nematode eggs and nematode larvae, both of them are severely inhibited in the presence of mebendazole. So that is the mechanism of action, how it works and where it works. Now coming to, if you have doubts, please feel free to ask. You can stop me at any time. Don't really mind. If you have doubts in the previous topic also, it is fine. Please feel free to ask. Okay. Now coming to the PK of the drug, one big problem with mebendazole is that its gut absorption is very poor, and you cannot really give this drug IV or IM. Okay, mostly it is only used orally, because that agent itself is present in your intestine. One of the best ways you can give the drug or treat that helminthic infection is by giving it directly in the GIT, so that the drug can directly reach the site of action. Now the problem is that this absorption is very low and bioavailability is about 20%. Okay. What you can do to increase this bioavailability is that give it with fatty food. So generally in India, what hospitals do is, whenever they are giving drug like posaconazole, mebendazole, or posaconazole is an antifungal, ठीक है, echinocandins में आता, उसका भी absorption कम रहता. This is also a drug that has low absorption, but both of them will have better absorption in the presence of fatty food. So what you can do is you can give the drug with a little bit of ghee, okay, half a teaspoon of ghee with the drug, so that the drug can get absorbed better. Okay. Now, main excretion, route of excretion is through feces. T-half is about 3 to 9 hours, variable in individuals. Okay. And it also varies depending on how extensive or how severe the infection is in the patient. Extensively plasma bound binds very highly with very high affinity to plasma proteins, albumin and globulin, and metabolized by liver. Okay. Adverse effects are also pretty severe. Even though it is well tolerated in some patients, थोड़े लोगों में nausea बहुत होता. They might have abdominal pain. ठीक है. As such, the patients who have helminthic infections, they will have abdominal pain, but this drug will cause even more abdominal pain. They can have diarrhea. ठीक है. Uh, and especially diarrhea is very common in heavy infestation. If there is a very heavy infestation of helminth and you are giving mebendazole, that is when diarrhea will become very apparent. If you are giving a very large dose of mebendazole, large doses, these can cause allergic reactions. Some patients will have headache, dizziness. Some patients will have hair loss, alopecia. With anti-helminthic drugs, several anti-helminthic drugs will cause hair loss. ठीक है, alopecia और hair loss, patchy baldness जिसको बोलते हैं, वो हो सकता. Avoid this drug in pregnancy. Avoid in pregnancy. ठीक है, very important. Do not give it in pregnancy. Now, because mebendazole has so many disadvantages, later on another drug was made with similar mechanism of action, but a better alternative to mebendazole called albendazole. Okay. This is a more improved version of mebendazole. It is a congener of mebendazole essentially, and the mechanism of action is the same. Okay. But it has a few advantages. The advantages is that it is better tolerated when compared. Adverse effects are lower when compared to mebendazole, and it is effective in single dose. Very important. Okay. Because mebendazole takes 2 to 3 days, it will take a long time for you to see an effect. That will not be the case in albendazole. एक dose में ही आप you'll start seeing the effects of the drug, and it is superior to mebendazole in certain infections like hookworm or threadworm infections, even in hydatid disease या neurocysticercosis है, ये पूरे में albendazole is superior when compared to mebendazole. Okay. And its active metabolite is 100 times more. It achieves better concentration in the plasma than mebendazole. So active metabolite Active metabolite matlab that active metabolite has a therapeutic effect. Okay, achieves 100 times more concentration than mebendazole. Okay, so clearly its bioavailability is much better compared to that. uh, Fatty food also increases this albendazole absorption. ठीक है, so if you are able to give it with any fatty meal, खाने के साथ भी दे सकते हैं आप या आप घी के साथ दे सकते हैं, it will be better. Absorption and metabolism, both of them are very very rapid for albendazole, and T half will be about 8.5 hours. ठीक है, mainly undergoes urinary excretion. That one undergoes fecal excretion. This one will go urinary excretion. Adverse effects will be similar, but higher doses, especially for a long period of time, can cause more problems with albendazole. Agar if you talk about normal adverse effects of mebendazole, sorry, albendazole, you will have the same nausea, abdominal pain, diarrhea will happen, but to a lesser extent or a lesser degree when compared to mebendazole. Mebendazole में जितना severe होते हैं उतना severe नहीं होता है. But if you give a very high dose of albendazole, now if you remember, high doses of this thing mebendazole were causing hair loss, like something same will happen here. This will cause alopecia. It can cause jaundice. Some patients will have fever and weakness as well. थोड़े लोगों में granulocytopenia होता है. Granulocyte number will go down. ठीक है. So higher doses of albendazole should be used very very judiciously. It can cause jaundice. It can cause alopecia, granulocytopenia. Don't give in pregnancy because it is teratogenic in animals. Avoid it completely in pregnancy. Avoid in pregnancy. Okay. So we'll continue with the rest of the drugs tomorrow. Okay.